character, very eccentric and brilliant, and he spent the last 10 years really involved in her writings. She started a religion, and what
Christian Science.
Yeah, what interested me so much was how different their lives were and how similar, because they're both really, really strong characters, both self-made, both taken out of school when they were 12, and yet really created a whole new style of writing, or you could argue a whole new style of communication. So I love the idea that there was a woman, such strong ideas. She changed laws. Many states it was illegal for a woman to go to college back then. She started a college. And then Mark Twain is, he's so delightful. In my play, I'm doing a one-man show right now that I'm in the process of finishing writing. I wish I could stop writing it, but he says, it's one of my favorite quotes, few things are harder to put up with than the annoyance of a good example. and he's talking about Mrs. Eddy at that point. He in the play, anyway, sort of what she represents is that kind of high ideal. So that's how I got into doing the plays. When I finally finished this first draft, I realized that I hadn't spent enough time preparing for the roles, so I started with him on stage. That's how he got his start. He did a little bit of writing, but he really got going on stage. He's sort of our first stand-up comedian.
Right.
He's been very, pretty, really interesting people. It was kind of a little bit, not a little bit, it was sad with Jim Carrey. He just lost his father, and I just lost my dad before I did Tombstone. So he'd come over, even though he was just skyrocketing. He'd done something right then that no one had done before, $300 million movies, and the giant openings, but yet this was what was on his mind, so we talked quite a bit about press and things like that. And just when you asked the question, the first thing I thought of was when you wear this suit, something like 45 pounds or something, it takes an hour to get dressed, and you can't do it by yourself. Then you can't hear because there's really no holes in it. You can't turn your head. You can't go to the bathroom by yourself. You fall over actually quite easily. And those things are always on your mind because when you have to say to someone, I have to go to the bathroom. It's weird. So I was I knew that it was like something, but nothing that I've ever experienced. But you also, when you kind of sit in a recliner so your back doesn't kill you, and because you're in constant tension, it's like wearing a wetsuit that's 6-7 times tighter than any normal person would wear. And then you have a cape, so it's really psychedelic. But I realized one day, oh, this is being old. No one listens to you anymore. You can't talk. You can't move really. Like if this was falling over, you can't quite get to it in time. Even though going to the bathroom, someone has to help you get dressed. So it's quite different than it looks. Pretty dynamic and youthful. And then my memories are kind of like watching it, because you go to work and the Batcave is it's a cave. It's big. The car really goes 150 miles an hour. It was.
So you're saying it was a documentary?
Yeah.
These are all things that actually happened.
Yeah. It's a true story. Yes. So he sees things, and then the way he when he's in a good mood, because he can explain things about who you are through watching your behavior that you don't know, or he says things in a way that just no one. I just worked last year, I get to name drop, with Francis Coppola, and he has the same thing. He just sees things us mortals don't see. It's just fascinating. And then he was saying that like a kid about Brandon, who just was a fat guy, you know, he's just amazing. That's not a very good friend. I do a better Brando.
That friend's a feeling amazing. Like putting fried eggs in your armpits.
I used to smoke, and he would be like, "What are you doing to your body?" I said, "You just ate a chicken. A whole turkey I wanted to eat. And now you're halfway through the Haagen-Dazs."
I'm talking about you.
You also worked with the producer of Godfather, Robert Evans.
Yes.
Do you know Robert Evans, and do you have any great Robert Evans stories?
Well, it's impossible to be around him for one day and not have 100 great Robert Evans stories. I mean, there's 100 things that he says that are fantastic, but the one I like to say a lot is, you know who Bob Evans is? He made Chinatown. He was running his studio when he was 27. We did a photo shoot in Life magazine, and he was laying in his mink blanket in bed doing business, and no one was doing things like that back then. And but he would say things like, "Val, you and me, 1 and 1 make 11." It's great.